Hello and welcome to Backyard Food Guide. It is the height of winter, and as you can see here, my backyard is full of snow, so not really that conducive to gardening. However, what I'm going to do this year is try and get a jump start on things, go a little bit earlier with the hope of being able to harvest some plants a little bit earlier. So what I'm doing with these videos is putting together some checklists based on the gardening zones that you're in. So I hope you find this helpful. Here is the gardening checklist for Zone 9 in January and February. Zone 9 is the relatively temperate areas in North America. As you can see in this map, it is shown in purple, and the temperature is fairly mild in the winters. So in Fahrenheit, we're looking at 20 to 30 degrees, and in Celsius, warmer than -7 degrees to -1 degree Celsius. The first recommendation for the checklist is, of course, to create a gardening plan. Whether you create a diagram showing your different vegetable beds and making a decision as to where you might rotate your crops this year. Consider companion planting when you are putting your beds together. There are some vegetables and herbs that work really well together, and certain flowers that can be planted to help repel pests. So when you're planning your garden beds, that might be a really good thing to do. In January and February, checklist item number 2 is to plant any new fruit trees that you would like to buy. I realize this seems really early, but this is a good time in order to give the root trees time to develop before the warm, dry spring months. You can also, if you already have fruit trees, of course, prune and fertilize during this time. The frequency and amount of fertilization depends on the age of the trees. Now is also a good time to prune any roses that you have in your garden. You can remove any damaged canes and just improve the overall shape of your trees. After pruning, fertilize and apply a fresh layer of mulch to your rose bushes. Blooming will begin about 2 months after pruning. Now is also a good time to plant seed potatoes with lots of organic matter. Now, you do want to make sure that the soil is dry enough to be worked on. After all, the seed potatoes will rot if the ground is too wet. So make sure to check on your soil in January and February, and as soon as it is dry enough to be worked on, planting seed potatoes is a great idea. Succession planting is a great strategy for starting seeds early. That's going to be my plan for most of the vegetables that I'm recommending for this time of year. So for example, for spinach, I'm going to plant a row every 10 to 14 days. The benefit, of course, is that the entire crop won't be ready all at once. And also, if it turns out that I'm a little bit too early and it does get a bit too cold for the earlier plantings, I won't have lost the entire crop. Some of the greens that you can start to direct sow in January and February, again making sure that the ground is not overly soggy, are things like spinach, lettuce, bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, and parsley. A lot of these greens are a little bit frost resistant and can withstand some of the colder temperatures of January and February. Another great plant to sow at this time would be snow peas and snap peas. They are super delicious, and again, if you can succession sow them, they will be ready when you want to eat them. Number 7, fava beans are a great plant. They are delicious and healthy. The beans, of course, must be cooked, and the young tender leaves can be eaten raw or cooked like spinach. Other vegetables that you can start to put in during this time include broccoli, onions, cabbage, radishes of different types, collard greens, and beets. Some plants that you can start indoors during this time, a great time to start seedlings in January would be for things like leeks, cauliflower, and artichoke. And if we move on into February, you can start some of the warm weather plants as well. So things like tomatoes, peppers, eggplant, celery, and even cucumber can be started in February. So here is a summary of the January and February gardening checklist for Zone 9. I hope the information was useful. Please give us a like and subscribe if it was. Thank you for watching.